Tom, how many teammates did you lose?
Well, Dan Bush had just left our team and went to Snipers. And so I consider we lost him because he was on our team for a while. We lost Grizz Martin, who was on our team. He was driving our vehicle, our Humvee, that we had up-armored with plywood and sandbags. And an RPG went right through the wheel well where we couldn't armor, the rear one, and hit him on his right hip as the driver. And detonated his .45, which went off, and then melted his .45 and injured him so bad that he died while they tried to save him. And I could keep going with suicides from that battle, or early deaths from God knows what, you know? And I certainly can outline lost lives, like family lives from that event. But the thing that strikes me the most is we never got to bury anyone. We never got to say goodbye because it all happened before we got home. And the only person that I didn't realize had done so much that night until I got back and saw those vehicles and then heard the stories, who died 2-3 days later when a mortar round landed basically on him right after a memorial ceremony for all those we had lost on 3 October, was Matt Ryerson. He came out for us 4 or 5 times at least. Get turned around, come back, drop off the wounded, recruit more, and come back out again. Lose people, turn around, go back, get more, and come back out again and again. Because that's who he was. And then 2 days later, he died when that mortar round hit him and took out our commander as well, and a couple other people. One of my best friends at the time, I had just walked past them talking there from the porta potties and chit-chatted for a second. My friend stayed. I went back to the cot, laid down, was chilling, and I stood up to grab some kit, and then an explosion. I didn't know at the time. A chunk of asphalt hit me in my leg, and I started bleeding there, and I was like, what? I think somebody blew up a charge. Oh, shit. Somebody had an AD with an explosive. And then I heard screaming. And I just took off running in that direction. And I remember out of the smoke comes Jake hopping on one leg because he had his Achilles tendon sliced almost 90% through, and he couldn't walk on it. And I remember grabbing him and throwing him on a cot and just wrapping up his because he was in shorts and flip-flops, and wrapping up his Achilles tendon. As they started to carry him away, screaming, "Avenge me! Avenge me, Tom!" I'll never forget that. Funny shit in the middle of all that. But the docs came over. The hospital's right next door. The docs came over. Our medics were all over it. Our commander had been gravely wounded. He pulled through, but I'll never forget his screaming. I'll never forget. As tough of a man as he was. Football player, just a big man with a big heart who just recently passed away. Just screaming in pain, and it wouldn't stop. I remember laying in the bunker because they made us all go to the bunker, except for the wounded and medics, and moving them. I remember laying in the bunker just covering my ears. I couldn't hear it anymore. And then the cries for blood came out. We need blood, we need blood. We're all donating as much blood as we could, and they were trying to keep Matt alive and keeping Gary alive, and Matt didn't make it. Matt, we got to bury. Matt, we had a memorial for. By the time they had a memorial for Matt, we were back home. And it was Dress Greens, Nevada, Iowa. I was part of the 21 gun salute team, and I'm thank goodness I'm outside for the hard part. When the bugler and the bagpipes play, I was happy to be outside. And I'm glad I got to do that with Matt, at least, He was like, took me in as a father and came out for all of us, until he died. And everybody took on his kids as a family. He had 2 young boys. Those spouses are some of the strongest women on the planet. Most of them get cancer. The military drops them 2 years after, I think, the death. Or 7 years, whatever that time is, 3 years, and then that's about the time they're developing cancers. And I know a lot of them that have and are fighting it. Your husband's a Medal of Honor winner, and you're not being taken care of properly. It's just a sad state. The shit those people went through. And for them not to take care of their spouses, for as long as they need it. Some of them I know that wouldn't remarry. Just wouldn't remarry for 20, 30 years. Like one of them just recently finally married to a loving man who took his sons in and just, but she would not marry. She couldn't marry. She was in love. That was who she was married to, and I'm glad she finally worked through that and can move her life on, remarried and hopefully move on. I know I try. That's why this is my last one. Because I don't get this detailed typically, and it still hurts,
Yeah.
It's funny, people say, well, tell me about Somalia, or let's talk about Somalia, and instantly I feel it, and I start gritting my teeth and jaw muscles start poking out, and you're like trying to get through it. But it's that heavy. And I've done a lot. I've done a lot of work in the last 10 years on myself. It's still heavy. And that's my worry, for everybody out there, is that the ones that are like, I'm good, fit as a fiddle, that shit didn't affect me. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. You just don't want to admit it, How could that not affect you?